Hello, Renee Flamont here. You guys, last week I mentioned that this week I'm going to talk about the time I contacted the new supply. I did. It was over a year ago. I've never discussed it yet because I sat on it for a long time so I can make heads or tails about how I even felt about the whole experience, right? It was pretty intense, you guys. And I'm not saying I recommend it or not. I'm just telling you what happened to me, and hopefully you can learn something if you are thinking of contacting New Supply or tempted to. Okay, fine. Let's unpack this. Yeah, I reached out. I knew once I did reach out to her that it would be a nail in the coffin of him ever contacting me again. Or so I thought. Let me explain. Again, it was over a year ago, and I wasn't sure it was the right thing to do. I am glad I did. I felt awful for her. I could not process how awful I felt for this girl. Because, again, I've never really gotten into a lot of specifics, but you guys know I told you before, new people, just so you know, we were like a year, maybe on and off, not even. But then he would, for the next year, he would come back here. And he moved 3 hours away, but he would come through town once a month maybe. My phone would ring 1,000 times. All these messages, all these things to say. I want to see you. I love you. He's been with this other girl the whole time. It's being with her, staying with her, telling her I love you, being her girlfriend. It took me a minute to catch on that that's obviously what's happening, but that's what's happening. So... And I knew because I finally talked to him. I said, wait, you have a girl? I was just thinking what? He was just 3 hours away doing nothing? Just what? What did I think he was doing? I don't know. But I would let him in. We'd have coffee, whatever. Anyway, over the course of many, many months, I put it together and we had conversations and I made him talk. I've told you guys that. I'm relentless. I was like, nope, I'm not talking about anything unless we talk about this. So I got a lot of information out of him. So we had this new supply going. Our communication left me feeling awful for her all the time, which I get into more on Wednesday's video. But what I decided to do was I made a video clip, right? I said, okay, Renee, you have a lot to say to this girl. Make a clip. You make videos all the time. Go, hit play, say a bunch of stuff for 10 minutes or whatever, and just sit on the clip. So I did. And I sat on it, and it was in my phone for a long, long time. And then he told me her name, typed it in, there she is. I messaged her on Instagram, and I said, it was something very polite. I should probably look it up. I could read it to you. You know what? You'd probably like it, huh? I know. I should have done that. But I didn't, and it's going to take me a minute now, and you guys probably don't feel like waiting. But I just said, hey, I just want you to know, okay, Takes weeks go by. Weeks go by. I thought, okay, I made my effort. I've done the right thing. Because I didn't want her duped, not knowing this person keeps coming to my house while he's supposed to be your boyfriend. And this boyfriend of yours keeps saying these things. I felt terrible for her. And I've never been in this position before. Weeks passed. Weeks. All of a sudden, my phone rings by her. Now, she's not entered into my phone, so I didn't recognize it as first. And I didn't answer it. And then he calls and leaves a message. Yeah, I don't know. She got some message from you. Can you call me so I can get on with my life, please? So then I called her back and I said, oh, hi. I said, you got the message. She said, yeah, I was traveling and whatever. She wanted to know one thing only. And I told her a lot in the little text, in the little message I gave her. I was like, she goes, I just want to know one thing. Did he sleep with you? Now I got to break this girl's heart. Because we did 3 of the times in that year. And he was with that girl. So now what are you thinking to yourself, right? You're thinking, well, he'll just lie to her. She'll believe him. I think maybe that's what happened ultimately, which I'll get into. So I said, well, actually, I said, I made a video clip that will surmise it for you. Would you like me to send it to you? She said, yes. So I did. And then she called me after that. She said, I really appreciate you sending this to me. And I said, I was being very, just like this. It looked just like this. I was like, I'm not trying to be, I just want you aware because you're a fellow person and I don't want this being done to you. I didn't get into the disorder and all of that, but I really felt the need. And when we were chatting and she asked me right out about intimacy, I thought about lying because I didn't want to break her heart because we've all been in her position, right? So now she's the new supply. She thinks she's his girlfriend and she's asking his ex-girlfriend, did he sleep with you? I almost said no. And I thought, Renee, this is why you contacted her. So I answered her honestly, which certainly contradicted what he was telling her. It was intense, you guys. This was last August, or maybe it was October, September, right around there. I think I made the clip and sent the message in August, but I don't think I heard from her till October. But to talk about what I was saying up there for a second, at the top of this video, when I said I knew it would put the nail in the coffin, you have to be ready for that. And part of me did this so that I could stop his communication. Because I knew once I told his new girlfriend all of this information, he would never talk to me again. Or so I thought. So it was even more of an incentive for me. Because I was ready for it to never hear from him again. I wasn't wanting it to drag out. I hadn't been answering his calls. I've been no contact for those last, you know what I mean? But I had a bunch of messages. And I felt bad. Because she was in this position of new and was being duped. I've said enough on that I told you. I think that's the worst position. Nothing I told her, I realized, was going to change her heart. She was in it. You know the place. You're invested. No one can tell you a thing. She thanked me for contacting her. But after the second round of that, when I reached out to tell her he was emailing me, I love you, after this whole situation, that's when I said he didn't stop contacting me. I got one more email, and it just said, I love you. I screenshotted it, sent it to her, and I said, I just thought maybe, because by then we have each other's phone numbers. And she politely, after the first incident, said, I appreciate everything. She said, but I'm going to step away from this communication now. And I said, no, I understand. No problem. I just wanted you to know. And we didn't contact after that. But the number is still there, right? So then when I just out of the blue, I said, look, I just wanted you to know he's still at it. I just got this email. And I said, I would want to know. Well, first she said, I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget. She said that she felt confident in her path with him. I'm thinking, what? And I just simply said, I respect that. I would want to know if the person that I'm sharing my life with was saying I love you to another person. So I thought you would want to know. All I could think of, talk about pity, how trauma bonded is this girl to him. I'm telling her, I'm showing her, it was not to be cruel. It was not to be cruel. We did not fight. It wasn't ugly. It wasn't like that. I was friendly to her. I was concerned for her. She got that. She accepted that. We're around the same age. She got where I was coming from. She thanked me. But I was shocked, right? But then I started to think, that's how stuck she is. I'm telling her these things. I'm sending her proof. Copies, screenshots of 12 calls in a row, voicemails. I forwarded them to her. I just picked like 5. And I even said to her, I think that's enough. Because I didn't want to hurt her and send her all of them, but I picked a few. I wanted her to be aware. I said, I think that's enough. Because I wasn't after crushing her, I was after informing her. So she could make what I thought would be a different decision. But when she ever said, I feel confident in my path with him, all I could think of was all the things we discussed. She is in the position of being trauma bonded. Nothing I could tell her was gonna make her leave him. Sending her proof didn't make her leave him. And I ask you again, is that a position to be jealous of? I wasn't feeling jealousy for this girl at this moment. We talked about the new supply jealousy last week on a couple of videos. Look those up. I was not being jealous for her right now. I felt terrible for her. I felt pity for her. My heart was broken for her, like as if she was a girlfriend or a friend or a cousin or whatever, right? I felt awful. So I felt like when it came to contacting her, I was very hesitant. But once I did and sent her this information and did all I could do, I felt at least that I did the righteous thing. I didn't come at it like from a mean point of view. I honestly was not trying to break someone's heart. I felt awful that I felt what I was telling her was going to do that. But honestly, with as much as I gave her, I thought she'd leave. They're still together today. Over a year after I sent her those things. They are still together today. Because through a friend of a friend of a person of a thing, I saw a picture, and I think they are anyway. I think they are. I don't know how recent that picture was, but I think they're still together. And she even said to me on the phone, she goes, what do you mean? And I said, are you still together? Because again, it had been a couple of months since I had sent her the message in the Instagram to when she called me. She had been traveling. She doesn't look at her Instagram, whatever. And she said, when she asked me, but did you sleep with him? And I told her the answer. All I could think of was all the lies he's going to tell her. And she told me when she called me back, she goes, he stormed out. He wouldn't watch the clip of the video with me. He just stormed out. Now, you know he came back that night. And you can picture what happens because it's happened to all of us. So she was not leaving that person. And all I could think of was, what a terrible spot she's in. And I felt terrible that I told her these things, but I felt righteous in that she now has the information. She was no longer being duped. Now, if he turned around and did whatever and told her what, but I did what I could do. And in the next video, we're going to get into whether or not, well, she stayed, but we're going to get into how shocked I was. But then the next video, we're going to get into whether or not you should. Because it's not for everybody. I wasn't angry at this girl. I wasn't coming at it from an angry place. Many of us are. If the person took over your person, that's not what happened here. He was gone, then he met her. He just kept coming back here. Well, that's not proper. And I would say to him, are you out of your mind? She thinks you're with her. Took me a minute or months to figure that out. And once I did, I was like, oh, no. You're not allowed back here again. Once I finally put it together, I said, you're not allowed back here again. And I told her that I told him that. But I just wanted to point this out because many of us, when we're in that phase, and we're so jealous and we're so angry, we want to go after the new supply. Maybe go after them in a bad way. Maybe do it the way that I did it. There's a lot to unpack and think of. And I'm going to get into it right now. I'm going to make it right now. She stayed, and we're going to talk about that next video. Thank you for watching, you guys.